Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Since we've reached the top of the hour and we only have 1 hour, might as well start now. So welcome to the ACME session at IETF116. If you're seeing this slide for the very first time, then I'm really touched because apparently you came to the IETF meeting just for ACME, and that's really touching. Oh, forgot to say the people involved. So we have Roman here in the position of responsible AD. I'm here as the in-room chair, and Deb as in disembodied voice will also chair this meeting. Yeah, so a few things about the IETF 116 meeting. If you want to join the mic queue, whether you are home or in the room, you need to use the Meet Echo client. This can be the Meet Echo Lite. That's the thing that looks like a phone, also known as the on-site tool, or the full client with video. However, if you are using the full client with video in the room, like I am, please mute your laptop, otherwise we're going to have incredible feedback. You need to use either of those clients to join the mic queue. Wear masks if you're in the room. Of course, if you're home, you're free to not wear any masks. Wear a mask unless you're actively speaking at the microphone. And of course, you can also take off your mask just for a moment to drink some coffee or eat something. Remote participants are encouraged to use headsets, but of course that is not obligatory. And right, next. So these are general IETF 116 resources, the agenda, the Meet Echo, and whatever you need for technical assistance. And here's our own agenda. So we're doing all the admin trivia. I think we already have note takers and participated, volunteered on the list. So thank you for that. We don't seem to be having technical difficulties, and I will also monitor the the chat. We're going to go over document status, and then we have two presentations, one about ARI from Aaron and one from about DNS account 01 from the authors. Note that 01 is not the document revision, it's part of the name. I think the document revision is now at 00. And of course, if time is left, any other business. Any agenda bashing? Anything that we forgot to add? No? Okay, so let's go to document status. So ACME subdomains is the latest version that we have. Version 07 is from March 1st. It was approved on March 18th and is now in the RFC editors queue. Let me preface this by saying that we haven't had an RFC published since September of 2021, but with all these documents in the RFC editors queue, this will not be the same by the time we get to San Francisco. ACME integrations, latest version is 13 from February 10th. We've requested publication, it's in ISG review. ACME DTN Node ID, version 10 from September 11th. Publication requested, but no progress since IETF 115 because we're waiting for the DTN working group to have their draft progress. Yes, Roman.
Hi, so I wanted to ask kind of two questions. Is any help needed to progress the feedback for ACME integrations to basically work to discusses? Okay.
Don't think so. The authors are not in the room. I'm looking.
And while we're looking, I wanted to ask, do we know when the DTN when that document that we're relying on, DTN Node ID, when that's going to get published? I saw that it was adopted, but I don't have a sense for just the timeline we think we're going to publish that on.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Afraid
either.
not.
We can reach out to him and ask, or we can look. Well, look after we're done this and see where we are. The last I looked, it was adopted, but it has not been. I'm not sure what the progress is.
Right. Authority token, the latest version is from October, which is before the last IETF, but it was approved on February 16th. It's in the RFC editor's queue as well. Authority token TN auth list, also in the RFC editor's queue, approved as part of the same cluster. And there's ACME ARI, which we have version 01 from February, and there's going to be a presentation. Last two, device attestation, it's a new document, just adopted, version 00 from December 12th. And ACME DNS account 01, again, this is not the document revision number. Also a new document, version 00 was submitted on January 9th. And we also have a presentation about that. Anything we've forgotten? No. Okay, so I think it's time for the ARI. Is Aaron in either the physical or virtual room? Doesn't seem to be connected to.
I don't see him.
Yeah,
I mean, I
I
don't
see
see
him,
him
yeah.
virtually in the room. I don't think he was going to be in person.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll move to DNS 01. I'm hearing an echo of myself, so somewhere there's a, probably on your end, there's a.
That might be me.
Yeah. Okay, so I know the authors of this are remote, but they're not. They are remote, but they are in. They are connected. So. Okay. Hello, Antonios. Yeah. Just tell me when to flip slides.
Okay. Yeah, you can continue to the next one, to the first slide. Thank you. I'm afraid I have to read you something before I begin. I am making this presentation today in my own free time without using corporate technical resources, equipment, or proprietary intellectual property of Alphabet or any of its subsidiaries. I do not and cannot represent these entities before you today, and everything included in this session is my own personal opinion and work performed outside of my professional capacity. I am continuing my work as an independent contributor, and I will update my affiliation in the next version of the draft. Sorry for that. It's due to some recent events. So let's begin with the updates now. In the next slide, you can see that we have been adopted. So I wanted to thank everyone for taking the time to review this and express your thank you for your support, for mentioning all the use cases that you have for DNS account 01, and for going through the process of actually voting in the adoption call. Moving on, in the next slide, I just have some feedback that we have heard since then. The first one was in the abstract, that it was not very clear. We made some changes to the text, and it was also, we received similar feedback about CNAME records. We mentioned delegation, but people felt like we needed to mention CNAME records explicitly. So we made some changes to the text as well. There is currently a pull request on GitHub because we want to offer even more changes there. So if people can go and look at that and let us know what they think, that would be great. But there are some changes already. inside. They have not been submitted to the data tracker yet, but I plan to do this after we aggregated everything. And then there was a discussion in a GitHub issue that you can click there on the slides and go to. And this was about changing the design a little bit, but eventually we decided to remain with the current one. I would ask you, if you want to continue this discussion, to please do it on the ACME mailing list so everyone is aware of that. Maybe the GitHub issue is not the ideal place for this, but it's however you want and whatever is best for you. And then we had a single comment about authorship, and it was more like why you have so many and what their contributions were. I'm not sure what to do about that, so I haven't done anything. But if you think there is something to be done there, I am happy to listen. And in the next slide, you can see what we have heard in terms of support so far. Content delivery networks have expressed a lot of interest in this, including during the adoption call. And then we had CAs, whatever this may mean for you, and some cloud providers. We had 2 cloud providers that are interested in implementing this or use a variation of that and want to move to the standard version, and a few ACME clients. In the next slide, you can see that last week there was a blog post from Cloudflare that I saw, and they launched a product that automatically does domain control validation. You just delegate, you add a CNAME to _ACME-challenge to them, and then they manage certificates for you. And they acknowledge that this limits you. You cannot solve basically ACME challenges yourself if you do that, but they acknowledge that this draft exists and it would help them to have a better offering. And in the final slide, you can see that as I said last time, Google Trust Services has enabled this challenge in their production and test ACME servers. But to tell you more about what Google and Google Trust Services are doing in this direction, I'd like to quickly invite Amir to tell us more about that.
So this is Amir, and I'm acting as a note taker as well, and I think Aaron was going to be the other note taker, so I won't be taking notes for this section if anyone wants to take over here. So Google Trust Services, we have, I believe, 2 ACME client implementations of DNS Account 01, just various different places of it, and we've enabled it in part of our production servers. We also have a patch ready for the Go standard library to bring this in as a first-class offering into the Go programming language. So yeah, we will have that ready for DNS Account 01 as this RFC progresses, as this draft progresses. And yeah, back to you, Antonis.
Okay, thank you, Amir. This sounds very exciting. I'm happy to hear all of that, and especially this ACME Go library sounds amazing. Thank you. So to talk about Boulder now, I will have a lot of free time soon, and I am trying to contribute this challenge to Boulder server side, so CAs that are using it can enable it. And hopefully this will help accelerate adoption on the server side, and with proper client support, this will eventually make it into clients as well. That's all I had for this session, for the updates. So we are open now to any feedback, any questions you may have in the room or online.
Okay, anyone? Not all at once. Well, thank
So
you,
there
Antonio.
shouldn't-
And
So can I ask, maybe I should put my hand up. Ah.
yeah.
So there's no issue with the number of authors, right? Like that shouldn't be an issue, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 authors on this draft.
Five is generally okay. When you get beyond 5, it starts to look like a physics paper, and then there's some objection.
Okay, that's great. If you think of that, that's good enough for me. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you. And okay. So we sent an email to Aaron, hoping that he just missed the time. But while we're waiting, Brandon, do you want to update on your draft? Right.
Is this working?
Yes, it is.
Cool. I unfortunately don't have a ton of updates. I'm hoping to present at San Francisco, which is conveniently where I'm currently located. Since London, there's been a few discussions about a RATS draft as an encapsulation format instead of using the WebAuthn. But I forget the conceptual message proper. I can put that draft in chat. I still have a preference for WebAuthn because that is already standardized. I'm interlinking the two standards, two different IETF drafts and different working groups seems like not necessarily the best idea. And I think that's really been the only discussions that have happened since London.
Okay, thank you. So as far as I can see, Aaron didn't either join or answer our mail. So that brings us to the any other business part.
Mike Allensworth?
No, it was on before.
It was on before.
Yeah.
Test? Okay. Hi, a question for Brandon. This is Mike Allensworth. So I'm putting in a key attestation draft to LAMPS that we didn't have time to talk about yesterday, but it's trying to propose a like entirely X509 based key attestation format, sort of aimed at cab forum, big iron HSM type use cases. I don't know if Brandon, if we want to talk and coordinate, because I think our work is quite similar.
I'd love to coordinate. One of the, I think, challenges has been getting more feedback on this. My use case is almost explicitly not CAB, but enterprise PKI, which I think has slightly different use cases. But I think aligning all of the attestation and issuance work, I think, is useful. So happy to meet with you however you prefer.
Right. Yeah, and I'm fully aware that I'm trying to add yet another attestation format into the chaos. Fully aware of that and trying to do it gracefully, but we're coming from a world that doesn't really implement WebAuthn, doesn't really implement CBOR with like something that's more friendly to the tool sets we already have. Yeah. Anyway, if we could maybe communicate offline or have a phone call or something, that would be helpful for me.
There's another draft in LAMPS as well that is related to this. Carl Wallace and Sean Turner's draft.
Yeah, talking with them also. They're, I think, more how you take a like opaque blob and jam it into a CSR. They're not actually supplying a format, I think.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And then I think RATS also has opinions on specifying new formats. There's another draft in that working group.
So it would be nice to get all of these attestation drafts together and make sure that we don't have, that they're distinct and there's no overlap, or the overlap is documented, I guess. Wasn't there a draft in Anima? Or am I misremembering that?
I only know of 3, one in TLS, one in RATS, and this draft in ACME.
Oh, maybe that's it, TLS.
I have a draft I've been working on. If I could have a minute to come up and talk about it briefly.
Sure, just say your name because I have no idea how to
Hugh
pronounce
Meisel, sorry.
Okay.
I'm nervous.
Sure.
Hi, all. This wasn't on the agenda. I did try and email the chairs earlier this month, and I think my email just got lost. So apologies, I probably did something wrong. This is my first time interacting with the IETF. I don't have slides, so I will just talk at you and try and keep it brief. So my draft is a short draft to better define how ACME is used to issue certificates for tool hidden services. This is already something that 2 CAs do, DigiCert and Haraka, which is a Greek research university. For the most part, a tool hidden service can be treated as any other service, but there are some complications and considerations such as the complete lack of DNS for things like CAA account binding and the fact that some hidden services require extra keying material to be able to access them. So how that would be communicated over ACME. And also there's the, in the CA browser forum requirements, there's an additional method of verifying Tor hidden services where the certificate signing request is signed by the key of the Tor hidden service. And because the domain name of the hidden service is derived from that key, that proves control over that domain. And in ACME, there is currently the CSR step is entirely disjoint from the authorization of the label. So this draft also addresses how to join those 2 things together into one step in this specific validation case. This is my first internet draft, so I do apologize for any mistakes I've made, but I would appreciate some feedback either here or come find me later or email me on the mailing list, and whether you think this would be appropriate for adoption by the ACME working group.
So can you just repeat the draft name?
Draft Meisel ACME Onion.
Okay.
Spelled MISELL.
As long as it has ACME as the third qualifier, it's good. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you. So, any questions? Guess we'll have to read it first.
Okay, yeah, understandable. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And any other things? Yes, Amir.
So, I think we were also wondering, with our plan is to upstream the changes that Antonis mentioned about like 10, 15 minutes after this meeting. We were wondering, like, what is the process we're going to be looking at, or if there's any, questions, any concerns, how should ACME working group move forward with the DNS Encounter 1 draft?
Well, if there are questions and concerns, they're discussed on the list until we reach consensus. That's what we do at the IETF.
So, like, basically, like, I was wondering, are we ready for essentially working group last call?
Well, it was just adopted a few weeks ago. So the problem we have with many, medium energy working groups is that documents don't get enough review. And sometimes, yeah, we do a working group last call just to drive people to review it. I think this is a bit early for the DNS01.
Thanks. Sounds good.
Maybe we could get a commitment to have some people read it, or maybe we already have people in the group here that are interested in reading it.
So let's start with the obvious question. So how many people have read the DNS01 draft, other than authors, of course? Just raise your hand. I see about one hand. Yeah, that's so that's really not enough to say that the we can do an online poll. Okay. Keep missing that part. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so raise hand if you have read the document, and I don't really know what do not raise hand mean, but yeah, you can either vote or not that you did not read it, or not vote at all. So yeah, we haven't had enough review for this, and all I can do is encourage people to read it in the coming few weeks, and then we can raise things. Yeah, thanks. Then we can raise things on the mailing list. Okay, so since Aaron Gable hasn't joined the meeting, I believe we're at an end. Okay, hope to see a lot of you in SAG in about an hour, and maybe in today's social, and of course in San Francisco. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing yet another